Right, hopefully we get some people on, so I thought I'd do a stream. I'm feeling a fair bit better this week, but I've been still quite busy, even with less of some stuff off and I've still had other things I've had to do, so yeah, but anyway, so hopefully we get some people on. While waiting for people to come on, I'm just going to have a play on a game, and then as soon as I see some people in the chat, I'll come off properly and join in the chat properly. But yeah, it says nobody's on at the moment, so it might be just a bit slow as usual sending out the thing. But yeah, this isn't going to be a weird stream where I'm gaming all the way through it while not looking at the camera. I'm just obviously doing this while I'm waiting for people to come on. If it sends a notification out, because obviously the problem is that I think I scheduled a video to go live today, the one on the Strela, literally about 15 minutes ago. So the problem is with that is sometimes if you schedule a YouTube video, or like, you know, you do a video, 2 videos in a day, one of them gets a notification sent out for it and the other one doesn't. So like I said, if nobody comes on after a while, I'll just stop the stream and so try again another time, but we'll see. And sometimes you just get the weird thing where it's like 5 minutes before it sends a notification out after you've just been sort of sat here doing nothing. So, we'll see in a minute if anybody comes on. Like I said, when there's people actually on and chatting, I will look properly at the camera and read the text, but at least doing this, it's less frustrating than just staring at a blank screen. If anybody wonders what I'm playing while I'm just waiting for people to come on in the chat, it's Ship Graveyard Simulator 2, because I bought the Submarines DLC, which was only like £5, so I'm currently in the Kursk, which is kind of in bad taste, but whatever. No, that's alright. Hello, you're right. Yeah, hopefully you get some actual people on in a minute, but like I was saying, the problem is with these streams is if I've uploaded a video on the same day I'm doing a stream, quite often you start having the problem where YouTube just doesn't share the videos with people because it, like, you know, chooses one thing that you've posted that day to share. So I don't know if I can actually do this while on the live stream. Actually, I can. I'll just close. I'll save and quit this game and then I'll load it back up when I've back to main menu. Do you want to save the game? Yes. Quit the game successfully. Then I'll quit that. And then I can look more properly, but I can also get the chat up on the screen as well and any statistics I want to get up. So that's a bit easier. So yeah, video earlier was on the Strela 2. Now, as you can see, the Ukrainian flag behind me, that's covering up all the guns that are there. But you can see the tube of the Strela 2 right behind me there. The top end of the tube of it. That's not, it isn't normally that high, but it's not actually sitting on the floor, it's sitting on a box, so that's why it's that high. But yeah, the Strela, I think the Strela 2 tube is probably like nearly 1.7 metres long. I actually have to look up what the technical length is, I didn't bother measuring it. But I know it's, you know, it comes up to about here on me, so it's actually, like I said, you know, it's not too, it's about at least 5.5 foot, I'd imagine, the Strela tube. Right, Josh, just waiting for people to come on at the moment, because I uploaded a video yesterday and scheduled it for today. I think YouTube's done the thing where some people might have got the notification for the Strela 2, which is behind me, but sadly I probably can't pick that up on the stream because YouTube might class it as a gun, even though I suppose Strela is sort of a gun, but you know, it's not, it's a anti-aircraft missile launcher. But yeah, I've also got that really nice thing, which again I can't show on the stream. Yeah, I'm definitely feeling better, Rajiv. My colitis, like, flare-up still hasn't completely ended, but it's getting better now, you know, as in, like, less cramps per day, less bleeding sort of thing, so it's on the right path. 1.44 metres, so yeah, like I was right, nearly 1.5 metres, so yeah, it is pretty damn tall. But again, that's because, like, the missile is almost the entire length of the tube. Well, I can tell you what I bought recently on Steam. I haven't actually started playing it yet. Fallen Aces, but that looks really good. I think it's, well, because it's early access, I think only a third of the game is out, but it looks really nice. I bought that. That's like a Deus Ex-y sort of game. What they call it, immersive sims, don't they? But it's kind of like a film noir style thing, sort of. So that looks really cool. So there's that. I've been actually playing a load of Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition again, just because all the DLC I was able to buy that on the sale quite cheap with all the DLC I didn't have for it. So I've just been doing a load of campaigns and playing that a bit with my friends. What else of it? Helldivers 2 again, because they've done some good patches to that recently. And again, like I said, in Ship Graveyard Simulator 2, the DLC, another DLC pack came out for that yesterday, so I got the DLC and been playing that. I probably won't get the Elden Ring DLC when it drops either today or tomorrow. Is that out yet? When does it actually launch, the Elden Ring DLC? Coming 20th of June in approximately 5 hours. So yeah, I probably won't get the Elden Ring DLC straight away, just in case there's any problems with it. It's also a 40 quid DLC, which is pretty damn expensive. It's probably like, a fairly good big size thing, but the problem was with the Elden Ring DLC is I'm not sure if I'm actually in an area of the game in my current save where I can access the DLC, so I don't really want to buy a DLC, only to find that I have to do like loads and loads and loads of grinding in the actual game to get to where the DLC was. Anyway, let me... Oh, like a tiny little revolver, is it, for him? Rajiv? Yeah, I used to play loads of Red Dead Redemption 2. It's one of those games that now and again when I feel like it, play through all the single player again, and now and again I go on the online, but the problem is Rockstar. Yeah, so a tiny one, yeah. But yeah, the problem is Rockstar's not updated the online in ages in Red Dead 2. Because what was really annoying with that is they did this thing where basically, because they weren't making enough microtransaction money from Red Dead 2, they ended up basically saying we're just going to work on GTA Online. Yeah, I'd like to get a real Webley, Rajiv, but yeah, sadly, like, Webleys are pretty expensive, and I think they're not classed as obsolete calibers either, so I'd have to get a DIAC one, where a gun like a Webley, I kind of want a live one. Like I said, I've got this, which I won't put in frame of the camera, because of the fact that YouTube won't like it, but, yeah, this is really nice, this, ornate little Derringer. And again, I've cleaned it up a bit, which I can't show you on here, giving it a bit of a polish and everything. Might give it another polish later, because it does look like there's a bit of staining on the wood. Probably show you the handle bit of it, because that's not going to, like this nice ornate little handle. It's a bit like a dick, actually, going into the side of the thing from that. But yeah, that little Derringer's really nice. I did, obviously I don't have any gunpowder or anything for it, and, all the laws we have on it, but I did put a cap in it, to do, because even with the damaged percussion cap nipple, that one still, so I tested it with a percussion cap to see if it'd go off, and it did, so I was like, yeah, that's good. A real gun, yes, it's a real gun, it's a Derringer, like a really old, not the Derringers designed by the actual bloke in Philadelphia who did the proper Derringer, but, like all the other countries then did copies of the Derringer, so it's like an English copy of a Derringer. So, like a little purse gun, sort of pocket pistol. So black powder one, it's a muzzle loading one, so you basically get one shot and that's it, you better not miss. It's one where, you like put all the black powder down it, put a bit of wadding down, put a ball bearing down, like a lead ball with another bit of wadding to keep it all in. Then you have a little percussion cap on the thing, and then obviously what you do is, if you needed to use it, you then pull the hammer back and just shoot it. That's cool, you're doing, yeah, I live in the UK, England. Yeah, you're doing a, little John McClane figure as well. As in, when I've not been on, Mike, or you've just not been on to see them. But yeah, with the UK laws, which surprises a lot of people because they don't know this, is if you buy really old guns, they don't class them as guns under the law. Oh, and my stream's definitely demonetised now, because I've noticed if I talk about guns too much on a live stream, they just get demonetised, but oh well. Yeah, you can ask a question as long as it's not a really sort of offensive, stupid question. Let me look on IMFDB and it will actually say what all the actual proper guns they used in Die Hard were. So yeah, if you haven't used it before, Rajiv, there's a site called the Internet Movie Firearms Database. And that's really good for like looking at guns, especially if they've been mocked up. Ah, okay, yeah. So yeah, you know the thing that, yeah, you're looking at. I'm just having a look at this now. Yeah, Heckler & Koch HK94 chopped and converted. So what was the original one like? Oh, I see, so it was just literally a civilian, like semi-auto one or something with a big barrel to make it compliant with the laws. So it almost is an MP5. I didn't know if it was like one of the other guns where they then just, you know, retrofitted it enough. Because there's bits of the G3 that look like the MP5 at a distance. So yeah, people are saying if you look closer, you can see there's a different magazine release and that in all the different pictures. I'm trying to remember though, in RoboCop, there's the guy with the Sterling has the one with the silly long barrel, doesn't he? Because RoboCop bends it. Because that's like a US compliant one legally. Like, you know, or even though in reality for like a film like RoboCop where they were making it, they could have just had a sawn off, you know, like the regular length Sterling. But yeah, the one in RoboCop's like the one with the silly long barrel. It's like with the P90, I think it's called the PS90, isn't it? The one for US civilian sale, and that's got like a longer barrel. I guess it's because there's a minimum barrel length for SBRs, they call it, don't they? Short-barreled rifles, that's it, which all their silly laws come in on that. Sounds good, Reggie, when you get it back and it's working. The person who said, could you ask a question, you've not asked a question, or if you have, your question has not shown up in the chat, as in YouTube's banned a word that you tried to type in or whatever. And again, there's no way for me to even see the question that way. What's different about them? Because I haven't actually ever shot an MP5. I don't actually know how the sort of mag release works on the MP5. What does it say on here? No, lack of a paddle magazine release and push pins there. Oh, what? So is it one that you push in like a little button on the side rather than a paddle at the bottom? I actually kind of like paddles. It's just me ejecting a magazine using a paddle. But again, I suppose it depends on if you've got gloves on, you know, how good the paddle is. Would you accidentally hit the paddle? Same with the buttons. Speaking of something like that, I have no idea how I'm going to get it out, but something really annoying happened. With my Polish deactivated PM63, when I was putting the mag back in after cleaning it, I put the magazine in backwards, which with most guns shouldn't even be a problem, you know, because they'd only go part way up the mag well and then, you know, they wouldn't go any further and you could just pull it out and put it in the right way. But for some reason my PM63 mag, it's actually got wedged in there where I put it in backwards. Like, the catches have caught, but then it won't come out, so I'm going to have to see. I'm hoping, even though it's deactivated, that if I take the grip, like, you know, the sides of the grip off, where the mag goes in, I'm hoping I can then pry it out. Because it's not like I'm going to break the gun, because it doesn't work anyway, because it's deactivated, but it's just... That's the only thing I've seen with that gun that's actually, like, a really serious design flaw, not, you know, like one of the ones where it's just personal preference where people don't like it. It does seem to me like if you had a gun where if you put the magazine in backwards, it jams, you know, like you could literally jam it tight in combat and not be able to get it back out. And, you know, because literally a pistol mag the round the wrong way is a pretty easy thing to do. But yeah, we'll see if the person who's going to leave that comment is able to leave the comment. And yeah, they've got the Steyr org in Die Hard, as we know. And I'm saying I've got a Steyr org, but again, can't show it you on the stream. Mike, it will literally just be, there's a word you're trying to use that YouTube has on a blocked list of words. Oh yeah, what's it? Ball along slide, something like that. But yeah, it's like a 1911, but bigger, isn't it? The long slide. I just search long slide. Does that... I don't know, there's quite a lot of guns with long slides. Okay, so let's just do Terminator on IMFDB. But essentially, as far as I'm aware, it is like a 1911, just a bit different. Right, the Terminator 1984. Right, AMT Hardballer 45 long slide. And it's got like the really bulky laser on it. And there's the interesting thing that Arnie actually had to have a battery pack for that and like a wire running down his sleeve the entire time, because in reality, oh yeah, they've got a picture of it on the IMFDB. Like, you couldn't have little small laser sights then. You know, it had really bulky electronics that just weren't on the gun. If it has the word asbestos in, Mike, it's probably blocking it because of the word asbestos. I don't know why, but YouTube literally sometimes hides the word asbestos. I found that out, you know, where we just figured it out by people not being able, you know, where they tried to... Right, Mike, I'm not going to blame you for spamming it, so try... I know, because I know it's going to make the chat move a lot, but type a few words of your question at a time. So, you know, like do 2 words, 2 words, 2 words, 2 words, like that. You can't search Mega Drive on Facebook, that's weird. Yeah, I was just looking at, so... Yeah, so I'm just reading the actual thing. Hardballer is a 1911 pattern pistol composed entirely of stainless steel. Both long-slide and conventional versions of Hardballer are available. So, yeah, the long slide, I guess, is just longer than a normal 1911. Yeah, I'm just looking at 2 of them next to each other, so it's literally like a longer slide on a 1911, so it's just a bulkier 1911, basically. But yeah, so it's just a high quality 1911 that's got literally, as they say, a longer slide, like longer barrel, longer slide. Right. So are filters from Romania safe? Is that what you're going to ask? It depends on the year. Like, I wouldn't really want to use the old Cold War ones, but once you get to 1990 onwards, I think they'd be absolutely fine. But I've never seen anything that says, you know, they have asbestos in or whatever, the Romanian filters. But yeah, I don't know, because like I said, with some of the filters we know because people have actually paid to have lab tests done on them, and then they either come back positive or negative. That gives you basically a concrete answer. And then there's some, you know, some filters that you know are completely safe because they're made in countries that no longer use asbestos or anything similar, you know, for anything. And they're made by reputable companies. And then, you know, there's somewhere we don't really know because people haven't bought a bulk of them to have tested. Does it still have the grip safety? Yeah, I was saying, because this thing on the 1911 where it has a grip safety that a lot of people forget about. I forget the 1911 has a grip safety. But, oh, my channel, YouTube says, keep it up, your channel got 515% more views than usual in the last 28 days. And I think that's entirely because that Martini Henry video is so stupidly popular. Yeah. This short has got an 873,486 views since it was published. And it's gained me 995 subscribers. Literally a video where I just flick the action on a Martini Henry in slow motion to make the thing go out and get back in. So again, why YouTube has shared that video so much, I have literally no clue. That's the thing with YouTube, is, you know, I could make a 20-minute video with good editing and stuff like that. You know, trying to cut out mistakes, keep the editing good, keep the pacing good and all that for a longer period of video. It doesn't get shared, or like Zoomers don't watch it or whatever. Then a little like 10-second video of a short gets stupidly loads of views. Yeah, I'm just looking at what in the last 48 hours my most popular videos were. So, short. A load of my older videos that normally always got views anyway. But yeah, so it literally is just that now YouTube prioritises shorts over everything else, which is annoying, but again, there's nothing I can do about that. Like I said, I don't mind the fact I'm getting, like, decent amount of views and that again, it's just, I do not get the shorts thing. As in, I get it in the sense that they're very easy to watch convenient videos where people doom scroll through them TikTok styles. Yeah, I read that, Rajiv. I just wasn't going to read that one out loud because of, unless it just came through twice. But, yeah. I can understand that, but it's a bit weird. But yeah, I've seen things like that on other sites where there's words that are completely innocuous, but they think that because you're going to use them in a certain way, you can't, you know, you can't search or post certain things. And sometimes I wasn't even aware of stuff until I found that you couldn't post stuff, and then I looked it up. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, you've explained it. I completely get it why you said that, but it's just. But yeah, because one of the funny ones like that was, I can't remember what game it was, but there was a game where when the game came out, obviously where they have like a swear word filter in some games, there was a massive swear word filter put for like in this game. But the problem was that obviously they essentially gave you a list of all the words you couldn't say, that where either you could be reported for saying these words or they'd be censored in the game. But literally it was just like a really good list of insults, if you, and like I mean that even in like horrible racist insults and like homophobic ones and whatever else. Because this company literally looked like they trawled the web for every single offensive, like expression they could find and compiled it into a list. So it's like one of those stupid things where people are like, oh, let me consult this list to find an insult. I've got a £5 bet on England that will get me a £20 return if they win, but that's pretty much my only interest in it. I'm not a massive fan of football. Like saying Euros and World Cup is when I sometimes do watch the football, but I normally wait till England or whatever gets closer to the actual ending. So I watched all the game against Italy where they lost on penalties in the last Euros. But yeah, I'm like I said, football is just one of those things where it's kind of like don't really care. I don't hate it or anything. I just don't find it that interesting. Yeah, all right, Davey. No, I've not seen an MD port of Duke Nukem. I've seen some really weird videos. I was saying to my dad about this the other day, where people run Doom. They see if they can get Doom to run on really old or weird hardware. So I've seen stuff like that where there's like Doom running on calculators and stuff like that. But yeah, I've not. Yeah, I normally watch rugby more than I watch football. But again, it's stuff like that. It just depends what I've got on at the time. Because it's one of those things, I'd happily watch it if, I hadn't got much on, I couldn't think of anything better to do, but if it's a case of, it's on and I've got literally anything else I could be doing, generally, I'm just going to be more interested in, like, watching a documentary or something. Somebody said, Saints is 50. I said, waiting for a Parker to arrive on eBay. I thought a couple of days ago, really worried it's either really good or really bad. What, as in the quality of it, or, well, hopefully it turns up like that. If you've bought on eBay, you get buyer protection if it's not as advertised. Yeah, I don't know, Pedro, but for whatever reason, Doom is the one people use as the benchmark, not Wolfenstein. Because I saw there was one of those science papers about where they're trying to grow like lab like brain neurons or something in a vat in a lab, and then getting that to run Doom in as like kind of just to see if you can essentially make a biocomputer, which is actually really creepy now you think of it. That'd be a good like body horror sci-fi thing where like you have computers that actually like harvested brain matter essentially, rather than CPUs and vacuum tubes. The pen is truly mightier than the sword. I was going to say though, Rajiv, that I was thinking about the Nicholson Keaton Batman the other day for some reason. I don't know why. I really like Alpenflage, but yeah, again, like, because I've tidied a load of shit up recently, I was going to say, oh, I've got an Alpenflage Parker over there, but it's not in this room anymore, it's on a proper coat rack, so I can't just conveniently go and pick it up. What's Doom Dark Ages? I'm not even heard of this, let me Google it. Oh, so it's a prequel to 2016 Doom. Like I said, I didn't like the 2016 Doom that much. I mean, I never completed it. Like, I didn't think it was a bad game or anything. It's just, I don't know. You know, there's a lot of stuff like that where there's stuff I thought I'd actually be enjoying, and when I played it, my brain was just like, nah. Because the weird thing with me, Rajiv, is the two types of games I seem to like are either ones that are really intensive that I have to be concentrating really hard on that make time absolutely fly, or games that are really chill, I don't have to think about much, and I can have a podcast on or something like that while I'm playing them. I seem to kind of swap between those two things. But there's a lot of stuff where if it's like a moderately challenging game and stuff like that, I don't seem to get immersed in them anymore. Oh, I suppose you're right, DIY specialist, but again, I was always thinking about the bit in Batman where he kills the guy with a poison pen, like throws it like a dagger into his neck. Yeah, speaking of Quake and that, I've got the Night Dive remasters of all those, because like you said, they were free, but I've not actually got around to playing them yet. So I ought to at some point. I've still not finished Dusk, which I was really enjoying. Um, but speaking of like boomer shootery kind of things, I did buy, what's that one called recently? Celica, something like that. I've got the. I have to look at my desktop for the icon because I can't remember the spelling of it. Celico, that's it. Celico. That was really good. I was really enjoying Celico. It was like, I played a bulk of it in one go, and now I need to get around to playing it again. It's one of those things where quite often there's games like that where I really enjoy them when I'm playing them, but then like a load of mates might want to play an online game or whatever, and I play something with them, and then I might not be in the mood to play a game I have to be concentrating on, or. Which one's that, Pedro? I don't know if your first comment showed up. What's a protective mesh suit? Oh, KZS is the early Soviet camo suit, is it? Let me have a look. KZS. Oh yeah, I know the ones you mean. No, well, I only know because I've looked it up. Oh, is OZK the replacement one? Because I've got a bit of OZK gear. No, OZK is the old one. Okay. Maybe it is then, so... Maybe it is KZS. Although the KZS one I've got isn't the Soviet one, it's like a Russian one. In the, early... Not Digiflora, but their older Flora camo. Not when I'm in here, Iron Man. Part of the problem with that as well is I don't want them somewhere where they're all easy in one place together to steal, kind of thing as well. And the problem is as well, like I said, with YouTube now, you can't even have them on display in the background in a live stream. So with most of them, I've just got them stored for like the sake of keeping rust off of them and stuff like that, and then if I'm going to do videos on them, I dig out where they are. So loads of them. I can't show you them because of YouTube's policy, but I've got them to like Ukrainian flag, absolutely loads. Like they're all, just like stood vertically like that. But again, that's the annoying thing is, like with Mike's display board, like he put loads of effort into that. It looks really nice, but now there's stuff he can't display on it because YouTube's just got really funny about it as the rules have changed over the years. They're not my dogs, they're somebody else's I walk, but yeah, I think they're absolutely fine. But and sadly for me, I walked them for years, but the owner and the dogs must be really enjoying it, but the owner's moved to a much nicer part of the country, you know, like a lot more rural and that. So the dogs will be loving it, but I miss the dogs. That's the only thing. But yeah. So yeah, I don't walk them anymore, and but that's just a thing because yeah, like their owner was moving, and I knew that for like months and months in advance. But yeah, the last time I walked them was last week, I think. Yeah, last week. So yeah, last Wednesday was the last time I saw them because obviously they don't live in this part of the UK anymore. I'll be careful about just saying other platforms out loud, Iron Man, just in case YouTube strikes me or takes the video down. There's a lot of times I've thought about other platforms, but the problem is with some of them is they don't make it that easy to integrate stuff across. And part of the problem I have is obviously because of how much space video files and all that take up on computers and all that. I don't tend to keep backups of a lot of my older videos just because of the fact that, if I needed to redo a video, I could do it better now with better camera equipment and everything else. So I don't really bother keeping copies of most of my old videos unless it's like, one-off thing I couldn't film again or whatever. So I don't, and I know technically, yes, I can download from YouTube and then re-upload, but then, No, none at all. I'm going to the theatre around the time of my birthday to see the Doctor Strangelove stage adaptation in the West End with a load of friends. The one Steve Coogan's doing, that Armando Iannucci did the screenplay for, or like the stage writing for, whatever you want to call it, when it's adapted for stage. So I'm looking forward to that. But no, part of the problem as well is if there's any military stuff on at weekends, and I work weekends, another guy I work with, where we can't have the same, weekends off, goes to lots of military stuff. So, that's part of the problem as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to going to that stage play. Yeah, it should be good, like you're saying, Rajiv. But yeah, no problem. DIY specialist. It's just like I was saying. But yeah, I'm trying to think of what the name is. But yeah, it's because like we'll go back to that Russian thing. Is if you look at the like the PMK4 or whatever it is, or that like lightweight little mask. I've got one somewhere. Whatever that lightweight little disposable Russian mask is that's meant to protect you from fallout. That stuff definitely has a very basic anti-chemical and like flash-resistant camo cover. Yeah, it sounds good. The RO specialist, like, probably would do something like that. In all honesty, I have to obviously make sure I book the time off in advance if I knew when it was. But yeah, Mike said it was really good for him, like selling stuff and making money and that. So because that's what I was saying to Mike, is I said there's a lot of stuff I'd much rather sell at something like that than trying to post it through the post and get all the right couriers and then hope somebody doesn't claim it came damaged or like not arrived. I kind of like the idea a lot more of doing like soldiers scene type stuff with that stuff. You can have a good look at it in person, decide if you want to buy it or not. Rather than somebody saying that no, you didn't ship me the thing that you advertised. Yeah, the original Paranoia. I've also got Paranoia on Dreamcast because there's a version of that you can burn to a disc and play on Dreamcast. So I've got a copy of Paranoia for my Dreamcast as well. I might replay Paranoia. It's actually really good, but I've not played it in years. But yeah, I didn't play it all the way through on Dreamcast. I just played a bit of it to see. It was quite impressive. They ported it to Dreamcast. But yeah, I played it all through as like the Half-Life 1 original mod. So Paranoia, Rajiv, is a Half-Life 1 completely standalone mod. That's like a total conversion mod, and it starts off kind of actiony and then turns into a horror game and then a bit actiony again. A bit like Fear, like whatever it is, something Assault Recon, like the acronym Fear one. So it's kind of like actiony and horror at the same time. And it's like you're meant to be like some Soviet or Russian like hostage rescue team like Spetsnaz or something. And you get called into a thing, but it then turns out like the terrorist thing you're, going to is actually like some old Soviet like zombie lab kind of thing. Yeah, so it's an aftermarket port. It's where the mod that was originally for PC, people then just Google Paranoia Dreamcast just into Google, and you'll see what I'm on about. But yeah, Paranoia is a really good ModDB have the actual files, so yeah. On ModDB, there's a Dreamcast version. .163.38 megabytes. But obviously, the PC version plays a bit better because you can run it on a modern thing without anything being compressed. Don't have any gas masks. Oh, there are ones currently behind me. I was going to say, I've got some new ones I haven't done videos on yet, but they'll probably be next week because I've already made and edited some videos that will be coming out in the next few days. So, there's a couple of videos I use the action cam for that are coming out in the next couple of days where it actually works really well for what I wanted to do. You know, like I wouldn't be able to have filmed it with a regular camera or my phone, so the action cam with, you know, the right sort of strap setups work quite well for them. Supposedly the M10 M does, or just the M10, because I've got that weird one. Yeah, so the M10 definitely does, but it's a really weird, clumsy thing. So I've got a bit of it, but I haven't got, like, you know, all the stuff to attach it to the thing. And I imagine, obviously, you need to have one cheek port somehow blanked off, or you'd have to have it connected to both. But in theory, if I remember right, the rebreather bit connects to the outside of, like, one of the cheek filter pads, or you, like I said, or you might have to have one on each. And then the rebreather bit screws into the, like, you know, like a Soviet rebreather canister style thing. But again, it's nowhere near as good doing that as a proper rebreather, and it would actually be quite scary, because if that little rubber bit slips there, then you're going to suffocate or drown or whatever. Alright, Rich? I don't actually know, Iron Man. Like I said, when I used to walk the dogs, I just literally carried it myself, that stuff, on rigging. But I'm sure there are companies that do, like, especially for police dogs and military dogs, actually do like a webbing style vest for a dog. So obviously you can get dog harnesses, can't you, anyway? So it would make sense that companies probably do those with maybe some, like, added protection on them. Or, like, you know, ones with pouches and that, so the dog's carrying some of the weight as well. Yeah, you're right, Rich. So, yeah, I won't be on too much longer. Just because my throat's going a bit dry now because it's hay fevery season. So yeah, although my stomach's definitely getting better, the annoying thing is because it's hay fevery weather now. Sort of, you know, I'm getting the sort of dry, itchy throat quite a lot. Alright, Tooth Fairy? I'll stay on a few more minutes if other people are coming on, but like I said, it's the annoying thing. It's just, like I said, that at the moment I can't speak for too long in one go because my throat gets sore. Oh, and these stupid bloody bottle caps. Who thought this was a good idea? I didn't even know these were a thing until a couple of weeks ago, and then I've, like, retrospectively found loads and loads of people complaining about them. It's like one of those stupid eco things. It's certainly not convenient. Well, or not that I know of. I think it's in this room somewhere, although it needs to be cleaned. Yeah, I'll need to give this a clean at some point because it looks pretty grubby because it's been just in a pile of surplus, like a lot of stuff, for ages. So yeah, this thing. But yeah, there's not really any markings in it. Just one that says 1475-1. I think that's the only marking in it. Oh, hang on, S58. 1961, so it's probably called an S58, is it? Let's have a look. S58 hood. And then let me search Czechoslovakia. No, there's literally nothing coming up on Google for that. Let me just search Czechoslovakia NBC hood. Weirdly, it's coming up as, like, suggested searches. that hood, but again, it doesn't look like there's any for sale. I'm assuming it's just where one surplus seller just had a load in at one point. Yeah, but cheers, yeah. It looks pretty similar, other than obviously it's got the check markings in it and everything. It looks pretty similar to, I think it probably has a check button, doesn't it, somewhere, with a little crest on it, yeah, the little sword crest. Yeah, it looks very similar to if you see on the Chernobyl series, you know, like the sort of hoods, all like, you know, in the real life pictures. Let me just search Soviet NBC hood and see if I can find if there's a Soviet one. Because again, I'm just looking for the actual hood. Okay, so the Soviet one is called an OKZK cap. So Combined Arms Complex Protective Suit. So I'm assuming it's basically the Czech equivalent of that. Yeah. So I'll bookmark this just so I don't forget, but I'm assuming it's just basically the Czech equivalent, but you know, there isn't a one-to-one copy. Because yeah, it's obviously got the bit that if I do it across, so I'll just do it now. Like I said, I'll put this in the laundry in a minute once I finish the stream, and I'll give this a good wash. Because like I said, it's got like little bits of just crap on it where it's been on the floor for ages. Well, not on the floor, but on like a pile of other bits, you know, so it's just had dust and whatever else going on it for ages. So, just try to get these stiff old buttons through. You won't do both of them, but yeah, it obviously does up a bit like that. So it does look like the Russian one when it's done up, just slightly different, like, you know, button and fold layout, but I think it's just literally the same thing, you know, where a couple of Warsaw Pact armies had basically the same equipment, but they weren't one-to-one copies. Don't know much about them, I'm afraid. So, K63. Helmet. Oh, so that's the K63, so that's what, the one that's, like, based on that Swiss helmet, isn't it? Because there was, the Soviets bought some Swiss helmets, didn't they? And then once they bought the Swiss helmets, they just backwards engineered them. Like the Atlin or whatever it's called. They're originally Swiss, and I'm trying to remember what the actual Swiss name for them was. But yeah, they're called helmets, but from what I understand, they're not that useful. In terms of, in reality, that, you know, probably get for police against pistol calibers they might be alright, but for rifle rounds, don't they supposedly break your neck anyway, even if they stop it? Ah, yeah, that's how I've heard it, the TIG helmet, yeah. But not TIG as in TIG welding, but TIG as in, yeah. So that's in Marauders as well, the TIG helmet. I don't understand the question. Sounds like a spam bot kind of question, that one. I really don't understand the question. No. You might need to reword that. I'm pretty certain I don't have any IPP decon kits. Let me Google it, because again, a lot of this stuff I need to Google it. I've got some decon kits that aren't those, as in, you know, like decon kits that have come with other, like, military stuff, but, like, yeah, not one of the full-on, like, Soviet ones. The one, like I said, the thing I find funny with those Soviet medkits is the one where they had, like, the, here we go, AI2 individual first aid kit. The fun bit. Analgesic medication. Use for broken bones, large wounds and burns. Without touching the needle with your hand, stick it in the soft tissue of your hip, possibly through clothing. Firmly grasping the tube with your fingers, squeeze out the contents and extract the needle without releasing the top vial. So, basically, yeah, the reason these Soviet kits were, so popular is because they had essentially like morphine or a morphine equivalent in them, so everybody looted them for that. And is it also the phosphate poisoning medication as well is the other fun bit, because that makes you trip out? So yeah, and then there's 2 radioactive things in there, one for calcium and one for iodine. But yeah, sadly, you can't ever buy those with the drugs in anymore, because either, in most countries, they're controlled substances, and or, like I said, that people have looted them. Because the funny thing is, if you ever go to, I've got a load of MREs, but they're not necessarily for emergencies, sometimes I just eat them, but I've got a stock of them. The thing is with MREs is, like a lot of people said before, they're not really any better or worse than supermarket food of certain types. Because all the MREs normally are is something that's vacuum sealed with a good life sort of period on it. They're foods that are designed not to go off easily, and then they're vacuum sealed. They're not, just because of military issues, an MRE isn't really very magic. But yeah, there's loads of videos, like I was saying, as if you look at people urban exploring in like the former Soviet places, even if like the rest of the building looks untouched, if you find if you find the room where they've got those AI2 kits in, you'll notice they're all spewed all open the floor and open. And it's literally because junkies or like drug dealers have gone through all of them to take the morphine equivalent thing out. Don't say I blame them. I'd have probably done a similar thing if I went urbexing somewhere and found loads of old, like vintage, narcotics. It'd be like the equivalent of somebody going into some World War II German bunker and you find out loads of empty pervitin containers or whatever. Yeah, I'm alright, thanks. Hay fever isn't great at the moment, but I'm a lot better in myself this week than last week. But yeah, like I said, I won't stay on massively longer now because I've been on, nearly 50 minutes. Normally like going into politics on this channel. I am currently enjoying the Tory meltdown in the UK, where Rishi Sunak is now expected to lose his seat, and they might be down to well under 100 seats after this election, which serves them right for fucking this country for so long. Not to get political, but I don't think anybody in this country really likes them now. It's like all their own voters are either going to vote for different parties or just not going to go out and vote. And people are actually going, oh, maybe I could vote for Labour or somebody else. So yeah, it is really one of those good riddance things. But yeah, as I was saying, annoyingly, I can't show this properly on the stream because of YouTube's policy, but I can just show a bit of the handguard. So there's that really nice Derringer. And the Strela 2's behind me there, but again. At least it's really obvious with a muzzle loader if it's ever, for checking if there's a round chambered or not, because it's either chambered or it's not completely, You don't have the issue of there being like a mag inserted into it that might accidentally feed into it. OM 2020, I don't actually know much about it, but let me look it up. Not a flintlock, it's a cap and ball, so, like percussion cap one, the ones that replace flintlocks. So you put a little percussion cap on it, and then the percussion cap is what ignites the powder in the chamber, or in the barrel, compared to, using flint with a little powder draw. But essentially, if you called it a flintlock or a matchlock, yes, it's an old retro Derringer, yeah, it's, manual, percussion pistol, they technically call them. So, OM 2020 gas mask. Oh, so it is literally, I think I have seen pictures of that before, so it is literally just the OM 90 with a panoramic lens. It's still not going to be a very good mask. Because, yeah, it's got a better lens, but it's still not a brilliant face piece. Again, I'd actually like an S10 like that. I think that'd be cool to have an FM12 or an S10, where it had like a panoramic top part. A mask that kind of looks like that I really want to get my hands on at some point is a Polish MP6. Because they do that in both panoramic, don't they? Like one model variant's panoramic and the other one is, like the actual thing. But, yeah, I'm hoping at some point the MP6s actually start turning up in decent numbers as surplus, but I'm assuming that they've still not been in Polish service for like 10 years or something, to the point where they actually start getting rid of them. What, inert replicas are only $1,000 US? This is, not a replica, this is an original, Derringer, but not like the, like I said, a proper American Derringer one made in Philadelphia, but just like an English built Derringer in the 1850s, and it's not inert, it's all completely working. Oh, Strela 2 missiles, yeah. No, it wasn't anywhere close to $1,000 I wouldn't have paid that for it. Quarter the price of that, and you'd get much closer to the price I paid for that Strela tube. Oh, is that the? Oh, or do you mean the actual missile that goes in the tube, rather than the tube launcher itself? Because in the UK as well, the inner missiles for lots of things are much rarer than the launchers. Because again, I guess in a lot of countries they just shot the missiles up to use them. Because there's the Diak Maliukta missile that turns up now and again for about 500 quid, and I really like the look of it, because the Maliukta is a cool looking missile, but again, it's going to take up a load of space, because, you know, it'd be like that big, because if you look at the size of a Maliukta compared to a person, you know, a Maliukta is about a third the size of a person. I don't mean in like height, I just mean in terms of like, it's the bulk of it, you know. It'd be like having, it's like a small trash can size missile, basically. So yeah, as cool as they look, like, again, it's one of those things that it would just take up way too much space. You have to cut what really well? The missile? What, to deactivate it, do you mean? Well, again, it's deactivated by professionals. But, I suppose with, stuff like that, again, there's probably no point deactivating, because most countries would just use them up for training purposes. Yeah, sounds great. Thank you very much again for that. Right, I will go off now anyway, just because, like I said, I've been on almost an hour and I've got a sore throat. Oh, I did get a Serbian M2, what's it called, gas mask that's on order. It's probably not going to arrive for ages, but I'll do a video on it, because I like the regular Serbian M2, you know, the M9 copy. So I've got a Serbian M2F on order, that's the one, that's like a Finnish M61 V3. It's basically like that mask, like the same voice diaphragm kind of connector style thing. But the cool thing is with this one, is it's actually like the Serbian M2 sort of smaller mask style thing. So it'd be kind of cool to have like an M9 in 40mm with a voice diaphragm. As much as, you know, it's an outdated mask, it's still, I really like the M9 design. Yeah, again, I think it just really depends, doesn't it? But like I was saying, I think with a lot of countries, like I was saying, the reason the launchers are often... Because again, the countries that have disposable launchers, you know, like the fire ones like the AT4s and that, the reason, obviously, they're really easy to get cheap as DX is because they shoot the missile out, the launch is pretty much inert anyway, then they just weld a couple of bits to it, maybe break the trigger inside, you know, and then you've just essentially got a hollow pipe. So the army would bin those anyway. But yeah, it's the rarer ones seem to be the deactivated reusable launchers like the Strela 2s or like the RPG 7s and things like that, or the warheads, because again, if you're a country with a load of warheads that were going out of date or whatever, you would probably just either sell them to a third world country or something, or donate them to, say, Ukraine or whatever in the modern day, or you know, you'd use them for your own soldiers as target practice. Because there's a really interesting thing you can read up about of the longest ever machine gun being fired without a malfunction that was a British Vickers gun after World War II. And they went through something like 2 million rounds of it in it. And it was basically where they were just trying to see if they could keep it, you know, causing it to malfunction or like melt the gun or something. And in the end, they just went through so much surplus ammo that I think it just became like a logistics nightmare to keep the exercise going. As in, you know, they thought they'd break the gun well before they ran out of ammo on, like, you know, this army base and depot or whatever. But they literally kept the same machine gun firing for so long, you know, just replacing the water jackets and all that constantly with different crews, that they basically burnt through all the 303 ammo in their warehouse and then called it a day. So, that's quite a famous thing. Let me just Google it before I go off. What is the longest a machine gun has ever continuously been fired? In 1963, a Vickers machine gun fired 5 million rounds over 7 days. Fired in 250-round bursts, teams of 3 took half-hour shifts firing and shoveling shell casings away. Barrels were changed every hour and a half. The British Army had to use the stockpile of 303. The gun was stripped at the end and checked and found the gun was within service spec in every way. So there you go. Yeah, that's kind of crazy, but yeah, so it was literally, they were doing that to use up their 303 ammo. So again, rather than it being surplus, sadly, the 303 ammo was just shot in the longest machine gun shoot ever. But yeah, so I think with some of the DACs, that's the reason, like, more on the munition side of it, you don't get as DACs, is because quite often they're just destroyed in training kind of things. Right, anyway, have a good day, everybody. See you all, hopefully tomorrow, actually. See you then. I've got a video that's already scheduled for tomorrow anyway.